At the end of your workday, do you come walking into your house looking like this? If you do, then you need to watch this video. Hi, I'm Dr. Joe DeMarco, chiropractor and owner of OcraMed Health. On today's video, I'm going to go over some techniques on how to relax the muscles in your neck to allow your shoulders to relax and just drop down into a normal position. Before we get into it, a couple quick things. One, if you haven't already, pick up a copy of my new book. It's called A Fitness Carol. I think you'll really enjoy it. Number two, an update on the Guinness World Record attempt for push-ups. We've changed the date. It's going to be the first week of May. I don't have an exact date right now because we had to change venues. And as soon as I get the exact date, I'll share it with you because we will be live streaming the event on my YouTube channel. I'm hoping everyone can make some donations because all the money's going to charity. It's going to be a great event. I'm going for the 12 and 24-hour push-up record, which if you're wondering what the 24-hour push-up record is, it's 46,001 push-ups. So tune in because you can see me slowly lose my mind over a 24-hour period as I try to break that record, okay? Hey, listen, if you haven't already done so, take a second right now, subscribe to my channel, hit that little bell notification. It lets you know every time we upload a new video. Also, at the end of today's video, if you found the information helpful, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. So let's get into today's video. So there's a lot of us out there that deal with that tightness in the neck and upper back area. You know, you feel like the shoulders are going up into your ears. Some people, like, as the day goes on, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And by the end of the day, the shoulders are all hunched up and you come home, your neck hurts, your upper back hurts, you have a headache. It can be quite debilitating. It can really affect your mood because when things are tight up in this area, you just don't feel well. You know, you're not in a good mood. And so this is what we're going to talk about today. Now, a lot of times when this happens, a lot of people tend to focus in on what we call the upper trapezius muscle, which is a very large muscle. The trapezius goes all the way down the mid back and the upper part is right up in here. And a lot of times that is tight also. However, when I see patients in my office, one of the muscles that I look for that's a big culprit in kind of pinning those shoulders up is the muscle called the levator scapula. Now, the levator scapula is a much smaller muscle than the trapezius. However, it's kind of more of a key muscle for this type of a problem because, and let's take a quick look at the anatomy, because the levator scapula attaches into the top 4 cervical vertebrae, and then it also attaches into the superior medial border of the scapula. And just like its name says, levator scapula, the function of this muscle is to elevate the scapula. It raises your shoulders up. It raises your shoulder blades up. So when that muscle gets really tight over time, it starts building up fascial adhesions. It's losing its elasticity. Your shoulders are up like this, and it's almost impossible sometimes to even bring them down. And so the levator scapula is the muscle we're going to target today. I find that when that muscle is loosened, a lot of these problems go away. The shoulders can come down in a much more comfortable position. And this levator scapula is a lot of times is the muscle that is chronically tight and chronically has a chronic buildup of fascial adhesions. So let's get to it today. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is find the muscle, okay? And it can be a little tricky because the levator scapula is kind of covered in a couple areas. It's a little bit covered by the upper trapezius, and then up at the top, it's a little bit covered by this long muscle in here called this SCM, the sternocleidomastoid muscle. So at the top, it's covered by a little bit by that muscle, and the bottom, it's covered by the trapezius. So you got to kind of dig around and find it. Now, a couple simple things you can do is one is if you put your fingertips along the side of your neck, and if you kind of sit on your hand and then think of and then try to shrug your shoulder, because that's what the muscle does, you'll feel it contract. So if you put your hand along the side of your neck and then shrug your shoulder as you sit on your hand, you'll feel the tightness on the side of your neck, and that's your levator scapula. So that's one way to help find it. And then the other thing you can do is take your fingertips and kind of come back towards the trapezius. And if you bring your fingers back, you hit into that trapezius muscle, which is much larger, and you can kind of push it out of the way. So you can kind of come back with your fingers, push into the trapezius muscle like that. And once you push that back and you apply a little downward pressure, that's the levator scapula right there. So just kind of push the trapezius muscle out of the way, come down on the levator scapula. Now you can kind of follow it up a little bit And when you get up a little bit higher, like I said, that SCM muscle, which is right here, it's a little bit over at the top. Once again, you can kind of push that out of the way also, and you can just follow the muscle up. It's a relatively small muscle, but you'll feel the tension in there. One, you can feel the tension if you contract it, like I mentioned here, but also if you've been dealing with tightness, I'll guarantee you when you put your hand on the side of your neck, you're gonna feel this rope coming down the neck, and that tight, tender rope is your levator scapula muscle. So it's not too hard to find, but the first thing you gotta do is definitely locate the muscle. Okay, so here's how we're gonna release that levator scapula, right? Everything we're gonna do today, if you don't have any fascia release tools at home, just use your fingertips or try to use your knuckles. I'm gonna be demonstrating the techniques using a couple different devices here. One is gonna be a Tai Chi ball from OcraMed Health. It's a spiky ball, so those spikes can get deep into that deep muscle fibers of the levator scapula. So I like to use a lot of times a spiky ball. This is a regular size Tai Chi ball. People always ask me what size should I use. This is a regular size. If you're small, your neck is small, you might even want to use a Tai Chi mini, which is the smaller size. But I would either use a regular or a mini. The other instrument I'm going to use to work on this today is what we call is a stainless steel instrument. It's called the Fascial Force 5, or we call it the FF5. It has a dull edge. We're going to be able to get into those fibers using this also. I know a lot of you at home have this, that have picked this up from us, and it's a great tool to use on this area also. So anyways, first off, we've already found the levator scapula. We're going to spend some time warming up the muscle. We're going to take about 60 seconds, and we're going to kind of rub that ball, and it doesn't matter which hand you use. Sometimes I like to use my opposite hand just because it allows me to relax the side. So if I'm working on my right levator scapula, I'll use my left hand so that I can just relax this entire side. Don't forget the muscle comes all the way up, so you want to get up as high as you can, like right below the ear, and just make some different strokes with it, up and down, side to side, and follow it all the way down till you get to that upper portion here, right in front of the trapezius muscle. Push in as deep as you can. Work to your tolerance. Sometimes this muscle can be really, really tender. If you've been dealing with those tight levator scapula muscles that have been giving you trouble for months or even years, the muscle could feel like a really sore, tender rope in there. So gauge your pressure. You want to work kind of like a little discomfort, but it shouldn't be killing you. You shouldn't be jumping off your seat as you're rolling around on this muscle, okay? So just kind of gauge your pressure. Don't forget, we're getting a tremendous amount of blood flow into the levator scapula as we're working on it. So the muscle in the area is going to get red. If you have very sensitive skin, the redness can last into the next day. It can also cause little black and blue marks. So just kind of gauge your pressure. But if you do see marks from working on the area, that's okay. I mean, that's what happens when you're doing fascia release work. But gauge your pressure. So I'm going to spend about 60 seconds getting blood into this levator scapula muscle. I'm going to roll it all the way from the bottom all the way up to the top. Okay. Now, once it's warmed up, it's nice and it already feels better in there. Just sometimes just doing that, which you can even just do during the day at your desk if you just want to get a little quick relief, is just roll it around for 60 seconds. It feels great. Now we're going to get into the release technique. We're going to start at the lower part of the muscle and work our way up. I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to get in front of that trapezius muscle. So push that trapezius muscle out of the way. Push it back out of the way, and then put some downward pressure and trap that levator scapula muscle with the ball. So put firm pressure down with the fingers onto the ball. You're gonna have your arm out like this. We're gonna do two motions at the same time. We're gonna be tilting the head to the opposite side, and then we're gonna be bringing the arm back as far back as you can. So this is bringing my shoulder down, and this is stretching the muscle by going the opposite direction. So basically, we're gonna take the muscle, we're gonna pin it down, and then we're going to elongate it. So you're pinning and stretching. It's a great way to release a muscle, get to break up those adhesions. So get on that muscle right here. At the same time, I'm going to put firm downward pressure. I'm going to tilt the opposite way and bring the arm as far back as I can, and just hold that for a 5 count. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Great. Come back up. We're going to do that 2 more times. So 3 times, you're holding it for 5 seconds. Once you've done that, come up a little bit, about ½ an inch up on the muscle a little bit. So now I'm up a little higher. And again, we're going to repeat the process. I'm kind of putting firm pressure on the levator scapula. And again, I'm going to tilt my head and I'm going to bring that arm back. And this feels just absolutely awesome. It feels so good. Hold it for 5 seconds. I mean, I can feel this when I'm doing it. I feel it pulling right at the top of the levator scapula. I'm getting a release. Like I can feel the tension here, which is obviously where I must be tight. And I feel it even down lower, which is another area. You'll probably feel it wherever it's the tightest, you're going to feel it the most. So 3 times, holding it for 5 seconds. And just slowly work your way up until finally you're all the way up at the top. Like I said, this muscle attaches all the way to C1, so it's way up at the top. So you're almost like, you're basically under the ear. And once again, you're gonna do last set of 3. You're gonna put pressure into that levator scapula. You're gonna tilt it down, tilt your head the opposite way and bring the arm back just like that and hold it for 5 seconds. And you're gonna do it 3 times. So you might end up doing 4 or 5 spots. Great release. I mean, I'm just playing around here, and it just feels great, you know. Like we all have tension in that area. Some people a lot worse than others, but even myself, like just doing that, it feels great. Other technique, real quick, we can use is with the FF5. Take the this has different contours to it, so take one of the convex portions of it. I'm going to use this little convex area here, and you can kind of do the same thing. Get that area right on the levator scapula, so you can kind of drag it down the levator scapula from the ear down the side of the neck. There's a little different technique, because what we're going to do is we're going to take it this way, and as we do this same motion like this, as I do it, what I'm going to do with the FF5 is I'm going to drag it down the side of my neck. So I'm going to start up here, and as I do the tilting in the arm, I'm going to drag the FF5 right down my levator scapula like that. Come back up. Drag it down, tilt the head, bring the arm behind your back. Now with this technique, usually what I'll do is I'll do about 10 or 12 strokes down the side of the neck with the FF5 from the ear all the way down to the top of my shoulder like that. So I'll do 10 or 12 on this side. Of course, everything we do it on this side, do it on the other side. A lot of people, it's tight on both sides. Some people just have it really tight on one side, but do both sides. Give love to both levator scapular muscles. Give those techniques a try. They really work awesome. All right, get working that. Those are techniques you can, if you're having a lot of trouble with the levator scapular muscle, a lot of trouble with the shoulders up, you can work that every day. You know, it's just one simple technique with pinning and stretching. Work it every day. If the muscle is really sore the next day after you work on it, then skip a day. But I give those techniques a try. You know, I'm really, you know, I care about all my viewers, and this is a common problem that give a lot of people a lot of problems. So I'd love to see you get rid of this type of problem. So I hope those techniques help, okay? Once again, if you haven't already, pick up a copy of my book, A Fitness Carol. When you have a chance, visit my website, www.OcraMedHealth.com. We have a full line of fascia release products in stock, including Tai Chi balls and the FF5 fascia release instrument. So when you have a chance, check that out. If you'd like to support my page, just visit me on Patreon. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, OcraMed Health on YouTube. Questions about exercises or injuries, just leave a comment in the comment section below. I do everything I can to get back to everybody. And don't forget, OcraMed Health is here to keep you fit forever.